You're with Clement Manyathela.
7:02. Let's walk the talk.
It's 25 minutes before 12 o'clock. You're listening to the special edition of the Clement Manyathela Show, live from the Madlanga Commission here in the Pretoria CBD. What you have been listening to since around 10:30 or so was phase one of this commission, which is where we now hear the evidence of the KZN Police Commissioner General Mkhwanazi. The evidence has to be tested by the evidence leaders, and he is expected to also name the individuals and institutions as well that is accusing of this corruption or political interference in the criminal justice system. So phase one, we're still in the middle of that. In fact, before the headlines, General Mkhwanazi was just explaining the ranks within the SAPS. So it's going to be returning at 11:45. So I have dragged in Mandy Weiner here, the host of the Midday Report, to chat to us as we've been listening to this together. We also have Orrin Singh, our EWN reporter, here with us as well. Orrin, Mandy, thank you so much. First of all, Orrin, the chronology of events seems to be quite an issue here. The evidence leader, Teremuta, who kept on mentioning that there is a sequence here that really is crucial for this commission, that Mkhwanazi did an interview with you on EWN and then went to the parliamentary inquiry to talk about the allegations and then hosted that media briefing. Is that chronology right?
Bad way to start the commission, Clement. They've got it. Unfortunately, they've got it horribly wrong.
Yeah.
The sequence of events goes as follows: in that he spoke to Parliament on the 5th of March this year, the Portfolio Committee on Police. 4 hours into that parliamentary briefing, we see Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi come onto the screen virtually and speaks to many of the allegations that he spoke to on the 6th of July, mentioning the name of Brown Mkhwanazi, claiming that there might even be infiltration in that parliamentary briefing, alluding to likely Police Minister Senzo Mkunu. And then the following month in April, we sit down with Mkhwanazi where he goes a little bit more in depth into those allegations and goes back to when Brown Mkhwanazi first messaged him on the 30th of September last year. And then following that, we see the July 6th briefing that everyone knows about. So they've got it a bit wrong. They have to obviously try and maybe amend their timeline.
Okay. Mandy Weiner, when I was listening at what's expected in phase one, and I thought this is going to really be riveting, because the evidence leader, Teremuta, who said, we expect Mkhwanazi to mention the names and the institutions, and if there's a certain part of his testimony that he wants in camera, he must make an application for that. But from what I saw, he seems to be very confident and ready to spill the beans.
I think General Mkhwanazi is the dog that caught the bus at the moment, because he got way more than he expected. And I was sitting inside watching him. He's in a suit and tie. He's not in uniform. And now it's up to him. This entire commission hinges around him. And he has to give evidence. He has to provide the evidence that he spoke of in that press conference in July. And then it is the opportunity in phase two for the other witnesses to come and contest what he's saying. So it's going to be him against the world, although he did say in his evidence now that this is a product of a collective, that it's not just him, and that it's a product of a collective of various units that feel the way that he feels. And I think we need to be very careful here about being binary, that it's the good guys versus the bad guys. And you've been speaking about that this morning, that we need to be very careful about casting heroes and villains. And that's how this is going to be posited in a way, because phase one is Mkhwanazi, phase two is the others, and then phase three is back to Mkhwanazi. So we need to just watch out for that.
Absolutely. Phase two is going to be the rebuttals. Orrin, what are we expecting there? Obviously, Shadrach Sibia probably is going to be one of the people that come to rebut what he would have said in phase one, because, that briefing, General Sibia was mentioned a lot. Who are the other people we can expect in phase two to come back and say, I want to come and dispute what you've just said here?
Well, I think, Clement, definitely we're going to see the Minister of Police who's been placed on a leave of absence, Senzo Mkunu. I'm hoping that we see Major General Feroz Khan come in phase two. I think he his testimony at this commission is vital and crucial. And Mandy touched on the point of Mkhwanazi saying that this was a product of a collective. We understand that Major General Feroz Khan played an important aspect to what we saw on the 6th of July. He was instrumental behind a lot of the things that Mkhwanazi came out to say. And where his allegiance stands is also needs to be questioned and determined. And hopefully we'll get those answers in phase 2.
Mandy, it's celebrated. It's a good thing that we've got a commission like this, public hearings, members of the public can see and hear the extent of this rot that is being alleged in the SAPS. But there's a risk here. The credibility of the SAPS, these people are going to be fighting when they sit on that chair. Shadrach Sibiya won't be pulling back any punches either. And I wonder, how's that going to leave the state of the SAPS?
So I always say that I believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant, and I think that it's good to get all of this out there like we did in state capture. Even if we can't rely on the NPA to prosecute, in this case we'll have to rely on IDAC to bring these cases to court as well during the commission. So I'm always in favor of the public being privy to what's going on behind the scenes. But there is that risk. However, I think that trust and that trust relationship between the public and the police in this country is so far eroded that it's going to be difficult to erode it further at this point. And if anything, we need to rebuild that trust relationship, and that's what's going to be required. Sitting in the inquiry now in the Bridget Babandla Justice College here, I was struck by how quickly this had been put together, and it's running fairly well today. There seems to be decorum. There's a dignity about the process. It's very efficient. The room is not nearly as full as I thought it would be. But if you think about it, it's just 2 months that they've managed to get this thing together on the basis of one press conference. When you put that into perspective, it's a hell of a thing.
It is a hell of a thing. A process like this takes a lot to put together, not just in terms of infrastructure, but there's documentation, there's lots of meetings, there's security issues as well. You have to go back in there, Orrin, now, because they're back now at 11:45. How do people, because there are members of the public here that I spoke to earlier who are here to see Mkhwanazi, and we know that he's one person that has enjoyed a lot of public support. In fact, in his personal message, he took some time to thank the general public for how they've received these allegations that he shared with them. Were there any murmurings or claps when he walked in? How are the members of the public who are here to listen to the hearings reacting as he speaks? It's still early stages. He hasn't really made hectic allegations yet, but what have you observed inside?
Well, I was quite taken aback by the fact that there isn't that many people here. The public gallery itself is quite empty, but I think when Mkhwanazi made his entrance into the auditorium, it was quite deafening silence. And I think everyone was quite well behaved and taken to the fact that he's entering now to give his testimony, and let's have a look at how this plays out. But I'm hoping, and like you mentioned, Clement, Shadrach Sibiya, when he comes in, we're likely to see explosive counterclaims coming from him. This war between Shadrach Sibiya and Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi goes much deeper than we think, and I'm sure we're going to get some murmurs from the public when that happens.
Isn't it that what we've always been trying to say, that don't just look at these press briefings and you think at face value this is what's up. There's a lot more happening behind the scenes.
Over my career, reporting and writing books about organized crime, I've spent a lot of time interviewing Shadrach Sibiya, Feroz Khan as well, General Khan, and a number of other people that are implicated here. These guys are not going down without a fight. I think this is going to get messy, and to your point, it could be very damaging what's going to happen here, but it's necessary because we need to clean up the saps. Absolutely.
The grass will suffer, but it's a necessary expectation. Orrin Singh, thank you. I see the chair of the commission is now back, and they are just about to resume. Mandy Weiner, thank you so much. In fact, while we're at it, what's coming up on the Midday Report?
Well, the big news story of the day, right? There are a few other things happening. We're obviously going to take a lot of this live. We'll get some analysis on it as well. And now you've caught me off guard, and I need to tell you what's happening. The Phala case in court today. Also in a related matter, the Cat Matlala case. We're expecting a judgment in the bail application. For our Cape Talk listeners, there's going to be a focus, of course, on the Western Cape taxi routes that were closed today. That's a a really big deal. And then inflation figures are out. Annual consumer price inflation easing to 3.3% in August, so down slightly. So some good news for consumers there.
That's what you can expect on the Midday Report with Mandy Weiner.